It is with tremendous honor that I present, alongside Welton Gaddy, the 2012 President's Award for Defending Faith and Freedom to the extraordinary Mitchell Gold.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Shelley. I remember the first Interfaith Alliance dinner that I brought you to just a few years ago. You were somewhat nervous, or should I say excited. This was a whole new bunch of people, and different type of people than you had been used to. That night, I was going to introduce you to people that, for the most part, use their religious teachings to be open and affirming, and not just accepting, but embracing of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. And that night, I would introduce you to a man that my friend Judith Light and her husband Robert and good friends Herb and Jonathan all insisted I meet some years before, Reverend Welton Gaddy. So I was a nice, non-practicing Jewish boy from New Jersey and now from North Carolina, and in the program book, by the way, that is my bar mitzvah picture. Why was it so important that I meet Reverend Gaddy? Well, first, they know that I just really love nice people. People who are nice deep in their core. People who don't just talk about being nice, but rather they act it. Judith and the boys also knew that I was searching for religious leaders who read their Bibles not to put the fear of God in their congregants, but rather to put the love in people's hearts and actions. Judith, and tell the boys, thank you so much for bringing Welton into my life. He's had a dramatic impact on the way I conduct myself. Think about the way religion can be used to achieve equality, not to deny it. And think about how religion can be used to uplift a young, vulnerable, innocent, scared kid who has come to realize their same-sex orientation so that they have confidence and self-esteem to be who they are in a healthy way. To think about how religion and religious leaders can be part of achieving marriage equality instead of denying it. Welton, knowing you, how eloquent and smart you are, confirmed for me that it was the right strategy to have clergy speak out, not to be bystanders to injustice, but to be front and center in the struggle to complete human dignity. About a dozen years ago, I proposed and pushed the Human Rights Campaign to have clergy go to Capitol Hill to lobby for equality. Frankly, they thought I was like from another planet. When I spoke to state organizations and various campaigns about the urgent need to include clergy of all stripes, they balked, telling me it was a secular issue or it wouldn't work. Slowly but surely, their failures taught them. And now finally, where 3 states won marriage equality this past week and 1 fought back a discriminatory amendment, fair-minded clergy and people of faith were engaged on the right side of history. Every one of those campaigns had a robust faith outreach. Welton, we've come a good way together. And all my friends at the Interfaith Alliance, we've come a good way together. The first dinner I came to, I don't think the word gay or the term LGBT was even mentioned. A few years later, I was introduced and noted as one who is working towards LGBT equality. And then a year later, I was introduced with my husband, Tim. No hesitation. It was clear that the Interfaith Alliance, and now, of course, to receive the President's Award, It is clear that the Interfaith Alliance has come to see that the struggle for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people is to be embraced as an honored part of society, not to be marginalized, not to deny the humanity of being able to be with the person who somehow has landed in your life to be with and love, to have companionship with, be supported by, and be supportive of, to have the natural, intimate contact we are born with to desire. This is now part of the Interfaith Alliance mission. History will honor this organization and its honorable people. Welton, thank you for selecting me this evening. I won't let you down. Thank you for thank you for being there for Shelley as she evolved from being afraid of her sexual orientation because of her religious upbringing to be strong, confident, and simply one of the most incredible spokespeople for all the young kids like she used to be and like I used to be. I want my family to know how much I appreciate your support by being here this evening, how important your support, your words of encouragement over the years, how much strength that has given me to what I believe is important. Richard, Mindy, Vanessa, and Spencer, thank you. And I include in my family my business partner and former partner, Bob Williams, and his wonderful spouse, Stephen. Your ongoing, sincere support makes a huge difference in my life, and I know of other people's lives. Eloise Goldman, my friend and Vice President of Public Relations, but perhaps most importantly, a co-chair of this evening's event, thank you for all that you have done for me in the past and that you did this evening to make it such a special evening. Marriage creates a family. The day Tim and I were married, there was a different dynamic with our families. Gay people getting married doesn't harm society, it makes it more stable. What could be more stable? What could be more stable than having a loving mother-in-law who only wants the best for her child and who would travel from Michigan to be here with her son-in-law tonight? Melly, thank you. And my husband, Tim, you've created a home for me that encourages doing good for others. You give me strength, calmness, and energy to do all the things you and I believe are important in our lives and the lives of others. I am incredibly grateful. To all my other friends who came here this evening, please do know that your presence means more to me than you could have imagined. I hope I don't embarrass my nephew Spencer, but I want to share something with you. And Spencer traveled from Arizona to be here this evening with us. I want to tell you that our entire family feels unbelievably lucky, not only to have him here now, but lucky to have him with us, period. 18 years ago, Spencer was diagnosed with leukemia. He wasn't feeling well, told his mother, went to the doctor, and upon diagnosis with what used to be a deadly disease, began the curing process. He was lucky enough to have a match with his older brother, had a bone marrow transplant, and with the tremendous care of everyone in his family, Spencer is here today. A disease that 30 years before took the life of Bob's father and just about anyone else with leukemia was now curable. Through tons of research and expense and determination, a debilitating disease was conquered. Today, there is another deadly disease that I have dedicated a good part of my life to conquering. There are over 1 million gay teens that suffer serious depression in America because they are scared to tell their family about their sexuality, their religious leaders, their school, the very society they live in. This disease is not some abstract to be debated on CNN or some other news program. It is not some antiseptic intellectual conversation. I know firsthand how frightened these kids are. Not a week goes by that a Shelley Wright doesn't come into my life to talk with, or a family that comes into my life who is struggling with understanding their child, where havoc is wreaked upon them by outdated, ill-informed, and misguided religious teachings. And I know the kind of havoc that is wreaked upon a young kid because I was one of them at one time. As many of you might unfortunately remember, a precious young Rutgers student jumped to his death from the George Washington Bridge 2 years ago, this past September. Tyler's wonderful parents, Jane and Joe, and his brothers, Jimmy and Brian, are here with us tonight. I thank them. I thank them for being here. But more importantly, I thank them for having the strength, the courage to recognize Tyler was not just bullied by his despicable roommate, but also by the society that surrounded him. They have formed the Tyler Clemente Foundation to not just fight bullying in schools, but to try and change society. Yes, change society. To cure the disease that truly took their son's life. Some of you might recognize the name David Blankenhorn. David was one of the most outspoken opponents of gay marriage, having testified at the California Prop 8 trial. Through knowing more and more gay people, learning and understanding the harm that is caused to gay people of all ages, but especially innocent kids, gay and not, he changed his position and recently wrote a very brave op-ed in the New York Times. I say brave because to change positions on a subject like this can turn your world upside down. People who you thought were friends and who thought were reasonable, not so much anymore. My new friend David is here with us tonight, and I want to say how much I respect someone who is willing to change and stand up and be courageous. David, thank you for being here. I loved seeing the spot that you did for Minnesota, asking for the discriminatory amendment there to be defeated. Changing society is a tall order. And my friends, we have to do nothing less than that. Every day, over 1 million kids suffer the unnecessary mental disease of depression. It is nothing less than frightening to experience. And every day, 2 to 3 gay kids end their lives because of this disease. I've got news for Tony Perkins. Being gay is not a disease. The society he would like to have is the disease. This is a disease we can cure now. It doesn't take the kind of research and expense that leukemia took. It is a disease that we can change now. Together, everyone in this room, having the courage not to be a bystander, but to speak out, we can cure this disease. This disease must stop. It is curable, and we can do it. Thank you.